Yes. So yeah, that's the only thing. So let's say the only advantage, so right now what you have is in each of your packages, okay, you're using connection which is at the package level, okay, you're not using the connection which are project level connection. Okay, so now what is the difference between connection in at the project level, sorry, the connection at the package level and connection at the project level? um, do you remember, I think in the package deployment model it's not allowed, you cannot have connection at the project level, it's only allowed you to create within the package, you can have connection and you cannot share across the packages. But do you remember when we were doing SSIS and we used to create a connection at the project level and we used to refer it in all our RDLs? So whenever you have to change connection for one package, you just go in and change at the project level and each RDL points to one connection manager. Does that ring bell? Or okay, so yeah, so let's say when you have created connection at the package level, the first thing is it's all not shared. So let's say, because you know most of the time when you're creating the packages, each of the packages would be using same source and same destination. So what you can do is in the project deployment model, you have a way on the connection manager. So you right click on the connection manager and you can create the connection manager which is a project level right on your solution explorer, on the right hand side. Yes. So yes, convert to project connection. So then it will be shared. So right now it's going to create lots of connection for one each of them, but once you name it same, and then you can use all of them as just two connection for each of the packages, you're going to have only two connections in your connection manager in the solution explorer. So right now when you're going to convert for each package, it's going to create two connection in your connection manager. So see, it's keep adding it. So what you need to do is you don't need all of them. All you need to do is have two of them in there. So do undo. Okay, that's okay. So now let's double click on the data flow task. Okay, I will tell you what to do. Double click on the data flow task. Go to the first OLEDB source. Yes. In here, do you see it's automatically using the AdventureWorks 1, right? It's now using the one which is project level. It's not using the package level anymore. Okay. So what you can do is you can go ahead and delete the package level from your package. So click cancel. So delete the one which is this one. Yes. The one with no one. Yes. Did you create one with that as well? Yes. Yeah. Delete it. Okay. So now try to. So now you can rename it as AdventureWorks 1, but now what's going to happen is when you're going to go in each project, they will be converted, but it's going to create connection manager 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5. You know, for each package, it's going to create one in here, and you have to do same thing. You have to delete, and you have to do that. So usually when you start the project, you do it other way. You don't do it the way you're doing. You have to do right now because we started with the package deployment model, and then you convert it to project. So that's why it's a little tedious. But when you start as a fresh, what you do is in connection manager, you create two new connections, right? On your solution explorer, go all the way to the right. So on your solution explorer, you create two new connections, and in the project, you refer to those two connections. Yeah, in here you create two connections, and whenever you use the OLEDB source, you just use these two ones. You don't create at the package level. You're just going to reuse those connections. It's not going to be duplicated every time in the package. You didn't do it. Okay, so now let's go to the OLEDB source. I think it's just showing up there as the project one. It might be using, yes. So click on the OLEDB source. Now all you need to do is change this to 1. Yes, you have to change it now. Yep, you have to do for each of them. So why it's showing up? Because those are the, so destination. Yes, that's why it's showing up. It's gonna show up in all the packages. Click cancel for now, and then try it now again. It's a dimension date, right? So you need to map to dimension date maybe this time. Yes, so you have to pick the dimension date again, the table. Yes, yeah. Yep. And then you can delete the two other, which is the package level. So yeah, it's not saved. It's not saved yet. You need to save it. That's it. If you save. So the advantage of having this as the connection manager at the project level, so you don't need to worry about mapping each of them every time. So previously you might have mapped went into the property and you have mapped it with the parameter. So you don't need to do for all of them. You just do for two connection and it's done. And you can delete the two so that you won't get confused why you have. Yeah. So I think it needs to be you're doing lookup on here. Which package is that? It's a junk dimension, right? So you might see. Oh, it's the same table. You're gonna do a lookup. Junk dimension. No. Oh, maybe sales order header. You're gonna find the records for. Yeah. Sales order. Yeah. Right. Yep. Yeah. Now it's fine. Yep. I think it's correct now. It's done already. It's done. You did. I think we started with this one. You had to change it in, yeah. I mean, it's not necessarily you have to change, but you because there will be so many you have to change, so it's okay. But all you do is the other. Yeah, it doesn't change. You have to. So you know what you can do is other way. Right click on this one. Right click on the okay. No, not in here. So what you can do is rename these two, both of them, to just remove the one from both of them. Yeah, just in for now, just for now. So edit the name and remove the one. Just double click on that and then you can remove it. Oh, is it? No, you can right click and rename. And then they do the same thing for the other one. And then click on both of them to convert to project. The other two, which is package one, click convert. Yeah, right click and then convert to project connection. And then do the same thing for the other one. Okay, all right. Now what you can do is you can delete the one you have the local host with the two project one which is without one. You can delete those two. Yes. Do Control Z, click cancel. Okay, do Control Z. Does it work? Does it bring it back? Can you do undo one more time? It doesn't work. It doesn't bring the connection back. No, I don't think. Can you do it doesn't bring the connection. Can you do one more Control Z? No. Okay, now try to see what does it say inside the connection. When you double click on that. Oh yeah, okay, there you go. Yeah. You just need to change localhost AdventureWorks to why it's giving. Oh, because it doesn't has the table. Ship method, yeah. Yeah. If you go to columns, yeah. I mean it's you don't have to change everything. It was just once you know the concept. Yes, right. It should be the other one, yeah, right. Yeah, that's okay. Okay, so yeah, so what we're gonna do is let's talk a little bit about and make sure we're on the same page. So let's see. I'm gonna start sharing my screen. I think I know where the project stands, and I think it's in really good shape where you know how to configure the project. I think all we need to see is like the deployment, but we're just gonna go over few of the things that I want to make sure you understood, and it's not leaving off in the air, you know. So now let's see what I'm trying to make in so first let's try to understand, make sure we know what is the connection manager that you see in here, and what is the connection manager that you create at the project level or at the package level. So in the SSRS, if you remember, we used to create within the RDL, within the report, and one we used to create at the project level. And what we used to do is most of the time we used to refer, which is a shared one, right? We don't used to create every time. All we used to do is point to the shared one. The same thing when you're in the project deployment model, you create two connection manager when you start the project, the source and the destination. And every time you create a new package, what you do is you drop down and you keep reusing these two. Okay, so you don't have to worry about having it at the package level. So you don't do like every time. Let's say if you have to add a new in the control flow, let's say if you have to add a new connection in the size toolbox, if you're in the data flow, right? And let's say if you have to create a destination or a source, all you do is you use this the one that are available. So I have to, let's say if I have to save destination as data warehouse, I click OK. So I would be using the one which is existing. I won't be going and creating every time new one, right? So what we used to do till now is we double click, and then we used to do is we used to create a new every time, right? We used to select in, we never used to have these two. These two you see it right now because those are available from the project level. And when you create a new project, you don't have anything. So you always go on new and create that one. So in the project deployment model, you can avoid that and you can keep reusing the one that you created when you started the project. Okay, now what's the advantage when these two things are in here? When these two things are in here and you used it all of your project, and let's say tomorrow the connection string changes, all you need to do is go in here and change the connection string, and all the package now points to the new connection string, right? So you double click, and then if you have to change the connection for this one, let's say because I have to change now, it doesn't work for me right now, the connection is broken. So I have to change now. I don't need to go in each of the packages and change it. All I can do is I change it in here and all of them will be affected. I test the connection, it's working now. So I don't need to go in each of the packages and make it work. It will automatically fix all of the errors that I have. Okay, so all I need to do is change in just two places, and that's it. I don't need to give 20 packages. I don't need to go in 20 packages and change both the connection source and destination. Okay, so I have this database, but I don't have the SSIS data warehouse database, I think, in my, yeah, I think it's the new one, SSIS data warehouse. I don't have it. Okay, so right now it's not gonna work, but what I'm saying is you change these two connection if your server name change, and that's it, right? So the connection manager at the project level and the connection manager at the package level, two different things. And always when you are in 2012 and after, try to use the shared one. Okay, now another advantage of having the shared is if you have to point all of them to a parameter, right? You have so you have two types of parameter. One is at the package level. So if you see the control flow, data flow, and parameters, so these are the parameters used for configuring the value of the package from outside. You know, you don't want to come to the Visual Studio. How you used to do in the package deployment model, the configuration via XML file or via SQL Server configuration, right? So in the project deployment model, you create the parameters, okay? And the parameters, you don't need to worry about configuration anymore. No more Excel file, no more XML file, no more SQL Server configuration, no more environment variable, no more parent and child package relationship. You know, all you do is create the parameters, and you can change these parameters directly from the Visual Studio. Okay, we're gonna see that how you can change it. Okay, so all you do is you have only two things. if you have a parameter, or if you have a configuration parameter that you want to configure just for the package, so like one of the things that you were using to create a file, right, that is not used by all the packages, just a configuration that is used by package when you're creating a contact file that are not matched, right? So what you can do is, for that you can create a parameter at the package level. So you create a parameter and you say file path, and what you're going to have is you copy the value that you're doing it currently, and then this parameter can be set once it's deployed. So once it's deployed to the QA, you can put the value or the file path that you have in the QA. Once you put in the production, you can change the file path to the production. Okay, so this will be your file path. Oops, so I'm going to change the data type to string and then say C, okay, and then file path, right? So this parameter is at the package level. The same thing, you have the parameter at the project level. So when you double click, I'm gonna save it, and then yeah, so if I double click, it's gonna open the parameters at the project level. So these two parameters are created by me at the project level. Why did I create these two parameters at the project level? Because these two parameters are for the connection managers that are at the project level, right? So these parameters can be referenced by the parameters that you create at the project level, can be referenced by any of the packages, any of the connection manager. It doesn't matter if it's a project level or a package level, right? So I think what you did is, initially you had the connections at the package level, right? And you pointed them to a parameter that is at the package level, sorry, that is at the project level, right? So all your connections were at the package level, right? And then you pointed them to a parameter which is at the project level. That's fine. So anytime your connection manager change, all you need to do is come in here and change that name, and it will affect all the packages. So that's also fine. It's not a problem. Okay, but when you were doing, you have to go in each packages, and you have to go in the property of the package and configure each of the packages. You right click and you say properties, and you go and say expression, and you have to put the expression in here which points to this one. So you have to do for each of the connections that you have inside the package. But if it's a project level, you just need to do it one time, and everyone will be pointing to this parameter at the project level. Does it make sense? Right? So you don't have to do it for each packages. Yeah, you don't have to do it for each package. That's the only ease. It's just a one-time thing. That's what I was saying. It's a one-time thing. You go in each packages and you point that each package expression, you point it to a connection string. You have to do for all the packages. But if you have a connection that is at the project level, you just do it one time and at two places, and that's it. Okay. All right. So is it clear what is parameter at the package level, what is parameter at the project level? The parameter at the project level can be referenced by any of the packages or any of the connections that you have inside the project. But the parameter that is inside the package can only be used within the package. But the parameters, you create the parameters so that it can be changed from outside the SSIS environment or the Visual Studio environment. They can be configured during the runtime from the SSMS. Okay, so it's the same as configuration files that you used to create, so you don't have to come in the data. Why do you used to create the XML file or the SQL Server configurations when you are in the package deployment model? So you don't have to come in the Visual Studio to change the value, right? The same idea is in the project deployment model is with the parameters. Okay, so everything is handled in one place. Yeah. You just need to create a parameter and then you can configure it outside. You don't need to have configure it here. You don't need to put any value. Once you deploy the you need to pass it to anything. What you need to do is you need to make sure whatever your connection is, you right click to the properties, you go to the expression and you point it to the connection string. Yes, you have to map the parameter. The parameter needs to be mapped. Yes, with your connection string. So let's say if you go ahead. Okay, all right. But yeah, I see. Okay, so let's say I think I have in one of the files where I have, let's see, the the file path, which is the package level parameter. So any parameter that you create, either in the package level or project level, it needs to be mapped with the connection string that you want to map it to, or you want to be that parameter needs to be used. So do you want to share your screen one time, so I just make sure you I don't have it right now to show, but I can tell you what I'm saying. So you go to the file where you're in the contact files. You can cancel this thing, cancel, and you can go to your contact package, or you can okay, I see, that's okay. Okay. Oh, the contact is coming from the contact was I think it was coming from the person.contact. Yeah, person. Yeah. Yeah, it will be like doing it once you. Okay, that's fine. Um, oh, oh yeah, I had to go to Canada, so that's why. Yeah, my brother asked, and it was just like a last minute plan because I live about like 4 hours from Toronto, so I drove to Toronto on the Friday and then come back on Sunday evening. Mine went frozen as well. Oh.